Welcome to 3 at 1 a.m.
That's a stretch.
We got up, it's a bit, we've not got our usual time because...
You know, I could probably do that. I don't know if you guys could do that.
1 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I have too much coffee,
No,
I sleep.
1 a.m. So, big doings this one. We've got...
Big Mama.
Big Mama.
Big Mama. Or as I like to...
Mother of millions is a Big Mama.
Or as I like to call her, Little Deb.
Little Deb. Yes.
So
Well,
for
you
the-
could get away with that one, probably.
I'm speaking it into being.
Yes.
She,
I
she
see.
thanks me every day.
Yeah. That's very nice of you.
I don't want to call her Big Deb because then, might not go well for me.
You.
Eh? Anyway,
There's so many bad ways you can go with that. Let it go. Let it go.
so for those of you who don't know
But
this,
can I say Big Mama from now on?
You can. You can, Anne. It's not going to bother me.
Because that would bring me joy.
We live to bring you joy. Go ahead.
Big Mama.
so tonight we've got my wife, aka Big Mama,
I've got a name, you know.
Big Mama.
No, that's Deborah.
Right.
Deborah, no one calls
Three
you that.
names.
And as usual, Hannah
Yes. Hannah's hair.
and
And Super Dad's
Super
hair.
Dad, yeah. Now, just to get Deb in the mood, we're going to start with something newsy. Newsy for you guys. So the other week, if you were watching the vids, and you guys have, these people here, we did imaging, the mirror, all this sort of stuff, and it was awesome. People were finding out their I ams and who they were and all this sort of stuff. And the other morning, we're in here praying, me and Deb, and I thought, Jesus Now Our Trust, the church family that we set up, I thought, what's her image? When God looks at Jesus now, what does he see?
I love how you said her.
Yeah. And in all the years that we've been doing Jesus Now, 24 years, I've never ever asked that question. I just thought it was a, group of... I was going to think of a positive word, a group of people. And Jesus Now, the sum of all that. But when the Lord looks at Jesus Now, he sees something different. I remember ages ago, because we'd stopped and we restarted, and he said he loved Jesus Now, and I'm thinking,
He named her.
it's us, but he said he loved it, which was interesting. So it's his creation, it was his idea. He said, plant me a third day church, which we went out and did. And so I said to Deb, what's the Lord, when he looks at Jesus now, like in the mirror, what does he see? What's he created? And we waited on the Lord for about 30 seconds.
Yes.
I got a word straight away.
Right.
And then Deb got a word. And so I said, what do you got? And she goes, what did you say?
Epiphany.
She's-
Her name's Epiphany.
So she said epiphany. And I'm thinking,
Never used it before in my life.
okay. I
Had to
didn't
look it up.
I didn't expect that. But, but then when we looked up, and epiphany is a good word, but when we looked up epiphany, it describes Jesus Now beautifully. Do you want me to read that? I'll read them out. I couldn't believe it. Epiphany, an unusually sudden manifestation or perception of the essential nature or meaning of something. Because I'll read it again, but when you join a group or get attached to a group like the different churches we've been involved with over the years, every group has something about them. We went to one church and the pastor was very prophetic, and everybody in the church could prophesy. Because you went to that church, you got the prophetic. You went to other churches, you got different things. You come to Jesus Now, you'll be the recipient of unusual sudden manifestation or perception of the essential nature or meaning of something. That's exactly what happens. Matter of fact, you can't be in Jesus now. That hasn't happened. You're just a visitor. Beautiful. Wow. Second thing is an intuitive grasp of reality through something usually simple and striking. And we've said that I don't know how many times when you get a revelation, the Lord gives you an answer for something complex. We've found the answer's always simple. And we go, why didn't we see it? And it's always striking.
Yeah.
So I love those two things, and it's just an illuminating discovery, realization. It's the thing with Jesus now, when people, with people that are connected to us, sudden manifestations, perception, the Lord distills down the essential nature of the meaning of what's going on. They get an intuitive grasp of reality through simple and striking truths. Now, you had two more things.
I just got some more, three more. Revelation, realization. The moment when a character is suddenly struck with a life-changing realization which changes the rest of the story. I love that.
Oh, the character.
The character.
Yes.
Has an epiphany.
And then the story changes. Or
Yes. Has a different end.
Which is cool, because we're all here to have a new book written in this season. So can you read that again?
The moment when a character is suddenly struck with a life-changing realization which changes the rest of the story.
Oh, I like that. Isn't that beautiful?
The turning point.
Yep.
I thought we were sort of in storybook style.
It's awesome.
Did you feel like you were narrating?
Yes.
Sounds like it.
So, like, for those of you that haven't got a church home, you can't come here, but you can join us and become part of an epiphany. Because the Lord said there's people homeless everywhere. Spiritually.
And you need an epiphany to have all.
You got it.
You can't do it any other
You can't
way.
do it any other way. Anyway, because I wrote on the back of my notes here, oh, not on that back, on this back, an epiphany, and we were praying this morning, and the Lord said this to me, an intellectual pursuit of God is not powerful enough. It won't do it.
No.
It won't do it. It's got to be epiphany. And you've been watching one of our old vids on Revelation on lightning.
Lightning, yeah.
So that's good. So we're easing into it. Everybody happy with that?
Yep.
You're going to be happy with that because some of this stuff's going to be a bit tricky as did that one. That's a follow-on from the mirror stuff.
Awesome.
Another follow-on, I think I've already told some people this one, is dealing with the old religious order or the religious mindsets, all these sorts of things. I think I spoke to you about this. I was reading this the other day.
It would be Deb Elliott.
Deb Elliott. Yeah, I read this the other day. Matthew chapter 12, verse 11. This is Jesus. Then he said to them, he's talking to the scribes and Pharisees, what man is there among you who has one sheep and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will not lay hold of it and lift it out? Fall means to be entrapped by, overwhelmed with. Be entrapped by, figuratively overwhelmed with. And I read that heaps of times in Matthew, and my mind immediately goes to the lost sheep. And so I'm thinking, oh, yes, there's a little lost sheep. Leave the rest of them, go and get that one. But it struck me, the Lord said, no. This man's got one sheep, and it's fallen into the pit on the Sabbath. And it's obvious when you read it like that, he's talking to the Jewish leaders of the day, and the one sheep is Israel. And Israel has fallen into a pit on the Sabbath. It's in religious confusion. It's overwhelmed by religion. And all his worst stuff was directed at these leaders.
Never thought of it.
Because they'd taken what God had started and it had the law, the prophets, but they'd managed to get it, and he said another place, your traditions have made the word of no effect. And on the Sabbath, it's the whole religious thing. They've fallen into the pit. And he said to them, because all the stuff he was doing in Matthew 12 was healing on the Sabbath, eating on the Sabbath, doing all these sorts of things. And he said to them, listen, Sabbath was made for man, not man for Sabbath. And so we read that. So they fell into a pit. So it's just the one sheep. Now he's got one sheep on the planet. It's the church. And hello. Students of history that we are, we decided to get the one sheep that's on the planet now, the church, It's a good pit. And on the Sabbath, we've dropped it, the church, back into the same thing. So he was wandering around in his human form, not in this human form, in his human form. He'd be saying, it's so embarrassing. He'd be saying the same thing. We did this with something else the other day.
Yeah.
You know, the whole mere men thing that the apostle said, he'd say that today a lot of times. And Jesus would come and go, what have you done? Because I don't know, but like most people, let's make it obvious and simple. Did you go to church on Sunday? No, you didn't. Well, you have to. You've got to go to church on Sunday. And so what we've done is we've made the Sabbath or Sunday worship the thing, and all the people are serving the Sunday worship. So the value is not the people. The value is now we were in church, I think I talked about it before, we were in a church that we loved, but if you didn't come on Sunday, you were demoted. We're not sure about you. And we went to 5 or 6 meetings a week, but if you didn't go to Sunday morning,
3 kids under 4, take them all.
Working, and
Sunday night.
We go to the Bible study, we go to the youth thing, we help run that. We go to the prayer meeting, we'll come on Sunday night. Not enough. You've got to come on Sunday morning. And so what they did, this is Pentecost. Pentecost fell into the same trap that the Jewish nation did. They fell into a pit when on the Sabbath. And so you had a comment the other day, which I loved, about the New Testament. You said, don't make it a law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in the old covenant style law.
Yeah.
Of blessing and curse.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to read it with truth and grace.
Yeah.
And it's progress that you're supposed to make through all that truth and grace.
So we've done what they did. I've got down here, Christianity has fallen into the same pit of religion, works. The Sabbath was made for man, and we've tipped it on its head again. Because, like, it can go a long way with that, but that just sums up a lot of what we're doing. So we have a go at religion a lot because it turns out it's causing a lot of damage. And it's really devaluing people. And it's valuing meetings or things. And we call them holy, you know. Anyway, we don't want to get into all that Sabbath rest and he's our Sabbath and all that stuff. But it just struck me this week. Because I read it and he goes, oh no, read it again. He goes, one sheep. Oh, that one. And it's obviously them. And then it's obviously us. We've done the same thing. Now, so that's the mirror, religious stuff, and now we want to move on to separation and marriage. Separation and marriage. It's going to be good. Buckle up, princess. Okay. It says here in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 2 to 3, for I am jealous for you with godly jealousy, for I have betrothed you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ. But I fear, lest somehow, as the serpent deceived Eve by his craftiness, so your minds may be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. So I did that as a bit of a segue, because Deb's got some stuff on household gods. And it's like, the Old Testament church, they weren't allowed to marry the locals or the local customs. And then the other day when Deb was talking to me, she said, oh, you need to see yourself as separate from that. And so we're doing this whole thing as separation from, so we can be joined to the Lord. And at the moment, with us, with Jesus now, we're going down like the runway to take off, and we feel to lose weight. So we're trying to drop things off. And then the Lord said to me, I'll read this out, then I'll pass over to Deb. This is horrendous.
Awesome.
This is horrendous scriptures. It's in Hosea chapter 2, verse 5, and it's God talking about Israel as his wife. And this is X-rated. If any children watching, please go and watch Sesame Street. Hosea chapter 2, verse 5, their mother is a shameless prostitute, and became pregnant in a shameful way. She said, I will run after other lovers. I will sell myself to them for food and water and for clothing of wool and linen and for olive oil and drinks. And the Lord said to me, we've married other lovers. And he's coming. And so Deb's word for this week was purge. So it's like it's an interesting time. And like when you hear this, it's not all negative. He's angry with us. He was angry with these guys. He's not angry with us, but what he's coming to do, he wants to set us free because he loves us, and he wants to set us free from things we've taken in, other lovers, whatever they are. We're going to name a couple probably tonight, and they become what Deb calls them, household gods.
Yeah. I was doing some gardening, and the Holy Spirit started talking to me, and like some of you have heard this. He was talking about, I was thinking about Rachel, and she was Jacob's wife. Rachel was his second wife. And I was reading that story today about Jacob, and he had to work very hard for both his wives and for cattle and that. And I just flicked through the story to get an idea of what the Holy Spirit had been talking to me about. She stole her father's gods for some reason. I think Laban was Syrian. And she decided when they quickly left when he was away, because Jacob didn't think he was going to let them go, because all the grandchildren, the daughters and all that. So he decided to take off, and they packed up quickly and they took off. And she packed up the household gods. And you think, oh, tut-tut, when you read some of these old stories, and you don't think anything of it, but like you were saying about the harlot thing. So on the trip, I think he tracked them down, searched through. She sat on them. She was pregnant. Guess who she was pregnant with? Benjamin. She'd had Joseph, and she was pregnant with Benjamin. And she'd hidden these gods, and in the story her dad never found them and let them go. And she never made it. Do you know her handmaiden was called Deborah? There's another Deborah in the Bible there. And she died. It's part of those real downer story. She died. Rachel never made it to the Promised Land. She never actually got to where Jacob was going back to his parents. And the household gods all got buried where Deborah got buried, under a terebinth tree, which I found really interesting. But all that's just the background story, because the Holy Spirit started talking to me about people have household gods now in the church, in our time, in his body. And I saw these little things on shoulders, just sitting on shoulders. And have you ever seen those Furby things? They were like cute, cuddly, pretty colours, blended in, look nice. And they were right by the ear, talking the whole time. And he was talking to me and giving me pictures at the same time. He said, they have place because you gave them place. And I guess I'd been thinking about also the beam, and how that beam thing works, and how you fight it once you see it. You have to have a go at it. You go for it. You don't just let it there and give it space. So he said, we've given them place, and they've got place right by our ears, and they're cute, and they're familiar. And that was a word that really struck me. They're familiar, the little comforting voice that you think's your own.
Family.
Yeah, family. And, this can't be wrong. It's in my own head. and they speak all the time. And they can say things like, you love apple pie. You'd love a piece of apple pie. Why, yes, I would. Why wouldn't I? And they'll say things like, I think they were a little bit spiteful with their comments. Let's get a little bit upset with them. It's your right. These things are your right. All these little things that have been given place. place, and there's a million things. And he's saying to me, they look cute, they're familiar, they're demonic. And you gave them place because you thought that was you, and it's not you. And it's something you have to speak to, the good and the bad. You speak to it, and you say, I don't agree with you. I've done this lately, and they're shutting up. They're shutting up, so they are completely separate. And just the way the Holy Spirit said it while I was doing gardening was so simple and so easy to understand. And it wasn't Rachel's story sitting on a bunch of golden household gods. It was something that's demonic, that's in your ear, that influences you, and that's familiar. And we gave place to. And this whole purge week, I was in good time to get rid of them, have a word to all of them, get them out of there. But yeah, that was one of the stories that came up. You recognise them, you speak to them, you give them no place.
So when I read out Hosea chapter 2, their mother is a shameless prostitute and becoming shameful, running after other lovers. And I was thinking about what Deb said about these household gods and all these things. And Deb's been going on about separating from things, seeing yourself as separate, because we want to make progress.
Because that's not the new creation man. That's not who you are.
Oh.
It's recognised.
And so I was thinking about that, and the Lord said to me, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. So we know that. And so we've all had to deal with money issues and money things and money this and that. And then the Lord said to me, I took this personally because I've been fasting lately, a couple of days a week, and also 17 hours a day. We do a partial fast every day, and all these things. And the Lord started talking to me about food. Now,
Dun, dun, dun.
touchy subject, very touchy subject. And the Lord said to me, food. And I said, what? He said, it's another lover. And he said, you're having a love affair with food. And I'm thinking, because, it's, everyone's in a different place, but it's interesting in Hosea, the first thing he said was, I'll run after other lovers, I'll sell myself to them for food. You think of the Israelites, they go back because the food was better. And food in the garden, don't eat that.
Yeah.
Food's a big thing. And I thought,
Sell the birthright.
sell the birthright. And Esau sold the birthright for food, and God said it was godlessness. But like in society, food is huge, and like when we had the COVID stuff here in New Zealand, they go, you got to get the injection,
The jab.
jabby jab. If you don't get it, you can't go to the cafe. Oh well, let's get it because we've got to go to the cafe. And COVID will kill you unless you're at a cafe. And as soon as you get through the door, you can whip your mask off. Food's powerful.
Yeah.
And like,
Because they let you go shopping for clothes.
yes,
You didn't get the jab.
yeah,
Not food.
not food. But it's like there's all sorts of things that are an issue. But I know food's an issue for me. And I've struggled with weight, and I've been diabetic almost twice, both times at the brink, had to go do radical change. And food is like, it's been a massive challenge. I know it probably is for most people. And it's like, there's all different reasons why, but it's one of those things in the church that's been out of control. We've lost people. Yeah. My dad died, he was younger than I am now, and he loved food. He had a love affair with food, and he's a wonderful man. And he said, I love food. If I keep eating like I'm doing, I'm going to die early. He said, but I'll die happy. So he did die early. So we lost him 30, 40 years before he's supposed to go. So like, and there's heaps of other people that have been like mentors or things, and they're gone because in this one area, they couldn't get there. They couldn't get victory over it. So like the whole purge week, the whole separation, I'm determined to beat food. it can't be my lover. Like, Lord said, you can appreciate food. It can be a friend, he said, but it can't be your lover, you know, like, and so Hannah's got us doing the 17-hour-a-day thing, and that's just gradually weaned me off. Like in the mornings now, we don't eat until lunchtime, 1:30 or something. I don't even get hungry, and my body's going, thank you, you know, and then the Lord said, start fasting, so we've been fasting a bit, but I'm determined to break it because I battled it for like probably my whole Christian walk. When I got saved, I was skinny, and then when I became a Christian, I just started to increase in size because all the other I did
He was skinny.
all the other vices I had to drop, but that was the one I was able to keep. And you were saying the other day, it's not just comfort, it's reward. There's all sorts of reasons, but food, our society, food. And I like food, I love food, etc. But the Lord said to me, it can't be another lover. Now, we could do all sorts of other lovers, career, finances, success, all sorts of other things. But food, that's one he's put his finger on at the moment. Deb's not eaten for about a week, really.
No, hardly anything. A couple of weeks.
Yeah. And so...
He puts the prophets through it physically. Doesn't he, Deb? Just to show...
But, you know, so the key phrase for me, he said to me, you got a love affair with food. Because I eat when I don't need to. I eat stuff I don't need to eat, you know. And I don't want to be controlled by something like that. And so I've been gradually weaning myself off that whole mentality because, like Hannah has been awesome. Because, you know, we talk about the giants, or the religious giants, the works giants, end times giants, and they all say something. And then the Lord said, it's a giant. The food's a giant. It's demonic.
A strong man.
Lord said, it's a stronghold, a strong man. And he sits on your shoulder. And I said to Deb, I know what the food giant says. Because, you know, like the rapture giant says, you better get out of here. You know, the religious giant says, you better do it this way. You know what the food giant says? Yum, yum, yum.
I was just thinking that.
He says, yum, yum, yum. Because he's a friendly giant. He's a friendly giant. And he's killing us. You know, we went to the States and they're the most hospitable people I've ever met.
Yeah.
If I was there, I'd be dead by now. They feed you so much. It's like kill you with kindness. So the Lord said it's a strong man. And like with the giants, the Lord said, throw a rock at them, speak to them, and then cut their heads off. You know, so like, that'd be awesome to do. I want to cut the head off that one. And so like, Hannah's awesome because Hannah tackled the food giant a while ago, slayed it, cut its head off.
Yeah, started in my 20s.
Yeah. What was your thinking at that time about it?
Vanity at first.
So honest.
No, you stop growing up, and you know after puberty, and then you realize the more you eat, the more. So like, you realize it's something you have to get a hold on, like not be controlled.
Yeah.
And then so it used to just be portion control, but like these days it's about fuel. So like the better way of looking at stuff, like the New Testament way, is because we go, this is bad and this is good, and then we train children like, if you're good you can have a treat, and if you're bad you can't have a treat, and then if you eat too much treats that's actually bad, and it's the same tree and the same mentalities, and but you're like, it's fuel. So like you've got sweet and you've got savoury. You don't call sweet bad, and only savoury is good.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's amounts.
Yeah.
It's what you need, and they're just not supposed to control you.
Yeah.
You mix the fuel and you put it in your body.
So how long did it take you to get on top of that?
The sweet one was longer, and so I just make sure I didn't have too much, but it still like had a mental hold. That took years, but recently it's been more like, I never fasted before because I was always afraid that that I couldn't handle it. And it turns out it was because my glucose levels were still wrong, because you should be able to go more than 2 hours without eating. And so when I first started this fasting thing, I was like, oh, I felt like free because I realized I could.
Oh, you started doing the 17-hour thing?
Yeah, and so that broke the fear of not being able to get to food.
Yeah.
And then then you realize you're stronger than
Yeah.
you realized. So it's all like, there's lots of different layers. It's like a journey of like getting control back.
Yeah.
Funny the unhealthy things it's based on, the fears and stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of fears.
That's not a happy thing under.
Well, I was just thinking like the hoarding mentality. You know how like if they feared that they weren't going to get food, and they had the bread, and he was like, eat it, don't keep it. Like the hoarding mentality.
Yeah.
And it's not the Christ mentality. So it's like it's the worm man. It's like the Adamic man mentality to like the fear of like, what if I don't get any tomorrow, and like so we'll like pack it in.
It's
And
funny.
it creates the worm.
Yeah. One of the things that motivated me was purpose.
Yeah.
We've been talking about purpose a bit, you and me. We've been praying. And Jesus said, I got food that you don't know about. My food is to do the will of my Father. So he wasn't motivated by, like, he could cook a barbie for the boys.
And it is one of the it's important because it's one of the temptations that got tempted for Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like the natural temptation. Food was one of them.
Yeah. Food's big. I mean, like, I'll be honest, food's been huge. It's a huge challenge. And all the sort of things that
giant.
it's a giant. All the things that you get good at, I found that's probably one of the toughest ones because it's in your face and all that. But I'm determined that it's not going to. And, you know, Deb, we can't out you on video, but you have been known to hide lollies in your drawer.
My adult sons in their 40s come looking through my purse. And even occasionally...
Yeah. Because isn't it funny, you know, food, like Hannah doesn't watch me, but she watches me.
Well, because you said you would like some help and support.
Yeah, help and support.
That didn't mean I was supposed to be like the food monitor.
So, it's almost like if I can hide it from Hannah.
Then they're hiding things. And I'm like, what?
And you're going, well, how retarded is that? Because
It's for you.
it's, yeah. So that's the whole can't apply external things.
You actually have to fight this internally.
Internally
Someone else can't actually
yourself.
technically do it for you. You can help it.
But having Hannah with us, it's like annoying. But super encouraging because there's someone who's done it. It's doable. And why it's annoying is because she's here, she's witness. And so we can't, me and Deb, we could,
There are no excuses.
well, we could find
know.
some.
Yeah, but any you come up with, it doesn't hold water because it comes back on you and it's your body.
But we've
nobody
been
else.
managing to do it pretty successfully.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't do you any good.
So, you know, it's just funny, you know.
It's such a touchy.
So Hannah doesn't want to be the external police, but it's like,
But it's not hers to carry either, really.
and so her thing is like, she preferred me and Mum to be around a while.
Yeah.
I lost my
Health.
dad a bit early.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm after health, not healing, but health. You know how, like, you get healed and then they go, and go and sin no more. It's like some people being healed from bad health, but then you're supposed to, new path,
Yeah.
have a healthy path.
So I've got sympathy for everybody, including myself, but it's a giant. We've got to kill it. Because, you know, I remember one preacher said, you know, Paul said, I buffet my body and I keep it in subjection. It doesn't run me. And then one of the prophets goes, I thought he meant, when he said that, I thought he meant buffet my body. And it becomes a funny thing.
Yeah.
But it turns out, so like for me, we've done a whole thing on self-harming lately. And like when I said do your I ams, everybody did their I ams. When I said do your self-harming, not so many people was keen to do the self-harming because if you deal with self-harming, you get confronted. So if I'm harming through food and God confronts me, then I've got to do something about it because he's going to have me on about it. And so he said, it's a love affair. And he said, You don't marry it. Marry means to, like the whole thing was, marriage means to bind yourself to it in such a way that you're joined, and if you can't separate from it, then it's an unholy alliance, you know. And so we love the Lord, but we're married to something else. We realise we're losing pretty much 70% of our viewers, but that's all right. And I got to hear, the Lord said it's a stronghold, and it's a high place. And what it wants to do is dominate. And so you won't let it dominate you.
Our struggle.
It tries to dominate.
Yeah.
Tries to dominate.
You just have to apply truth and grace to it, not blessing and curse, because
Yeah.
you can go the opposite other way and be like anorexic or still controlled by it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always nagging,
Just
nagging,
another
nagging,
Yeah.
nagging.
So I just thought it was interesting. I said, Lord, Deb, we probably won't talk about it tonight.
That went well.
But the thing is, it's real, isn't it? Yeah. It's just real, you know, and like, it's a bit like that kiddie story, The King's New Clothes, you know. I remember going places and seeing people, you know, self-harming, hurting themselves big time. And no one says anything. You can't touch it. You can't touch food because, you know, my God, you're taking away alcohol and our drugs and our free sex. Now you're going to take away our food. Yeah. I got to hear, why does God want this? Because he loves us. Wrong affections hurt us and lead us into all kinds of trouble and strife. He's not out here to take stuff away. He wants to give us something. I want to get a spirit life. I don't want something dominating me that's not God. I love food.
And you want to be around
I
it.
appreciate and like, but I want to get to the point where I like food and I appreciate food. I know what it is to have a banquet. I know what it is to not have it in a day and not bother me. I don't want to have to be controlled or thinking about food all the time. It's just annoying. And I don't want any giants in my life that aren't the Lord. So yeah. So other lovers, Paul said, we've already said he's betrothed you to one husband. The Lord said to me, you're only allowed to have one love affair, even with your wife. That's got to be, the Lord's got to be a love affair, and that's secondary, lesser. You know, that's the healthy or safe way to be. So I remember sport used to be huge. We still watch a bit, but I mean, I used to be addicted. I'd go to bed at night with my headphones in.
Yeah.
And got to break that off my life because
That went great in the early days of marriage.
we're lying in bed and it's cricket and it's in England, it's at night. Yeah. I want to listen. I've got one earpiece in and one open, so Deb's there. And I'm lying there listening to cricket, one ear listening to Deb, one ear listening to the cricket. I used to listen to every over of every game, local and domestic, international. I'm in. And one night we're lying there, early marriage. She goes, are you listening to the cricket?
In the middle, he's squirming. Indeed.
And because I got my earplug, I went, no! Whack!
Dead girl.
But, you know,
I could hear it through the ear thing. Yeah.
I can appreciate sport now. It doesn't run my life like it used to.
Great.
And I love food.
That was one you had to take power back from.
I love food as much as the next person, but I don't want to be subject to this friendly giant in my ear going yum yum yum. I actually want to have a win on that one. I mean, it's not like I haven't tried. I've tried heaps of times. When I got the diabetes scare, I lost 15 kilos in 6 weeks. But then the fear went away.
Yeah, and then it's that weird, like, I've been good now, and then you just go back to the old way. It's weird.
And
Weird mentality.
I'm way better than I used to be, but not as good as I need to be. Way better than I used to be, and I still, you know, and the Lord said to me, it's just a love affair. Just break it. You can only have one lover. Because I want the whole background, but I want purpose.
But you want your body to belong to the Lord.
Yeah, I want to walk in what the Lord wants. I don't want to be, you know, sidetracked with other stuff. That was horrific.
Also,
what else you got?
I don't have to add. I don't know.
Add it to come.
No. Well, the thing is, some people don't think about the especially when they use like nice as an excuse of I'm nice or blah blah blah. But if you've ever had like a crossroads desert test thing with the enemy,
Oh, yeah.
niceness and reasonable and you don't have to do that and really, really
Oh,
nice.
that's how it
one of
comes.
the methods.
Yeah.
That's people.
That sounds like
people
the household gods.
don't think that's an evil thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the intent is evil indeed, but it sounds nice and fluffy and reasonable and kind. Yes.
So the demons don't sound like
No,
that.
but like, so what happens is if you don't listen to that, then it turns nasty.
Oh,
Yeah.
we don't
But
want
if
that.
nice works, then he doesn't have to do the nasty.
Good
No.
cop, bad cop.
Yeah. Same little, cut that tree down.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want the worm tree.
How long have we been going for? We got time for one more story? What do you got there, Deb?
Oh, no, I thought Hannah had...
No?
No.
No.
Ignore.
Well, you know my healing wonder purpose the Lord gave me a few weeks ago?
Yes.
And that seems to have taken off with people. Well, I got a little bit more on it.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah. He gave me things to go with healing, wonder, and purpose. Healing, he said right at the beginning, healing has an end.
Okay.
There's an end to healing. That
Yeah.
means you're healed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wonder brings blessing. That's where that goes, blessing. Purpose brings direction. No healing, no end. No wonder, no blessing.
True.
No purpose, no direction.
Well, that's good, yeah.
That's why they were so important.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, I don't think I'll do the other story. The first story of Rachel was in Genesis 31, and then the other stories, there's actually a few of them. Matthew 22, about the wedding feast
Yeah.
and the bridegroom. Couldn't get anyone in. Servants couldn't get anyone in. There's actually more than one part to that. In Luke 14, was it?
14, yeah.
14. There's a couple of things in that too about different examples. It's all about attitudes. And I guess dealing with all this stuff's all about attitudes too. You know, Rachel's attitudes of people who didn't want to come. Look at the attitudes. Look at all the people that didn't want to come to the feast, and the reasons. It's in there more than once. You know, simple things like I got a new business. You know, and some their attitude was scoffing, and then they killed the messengers. And the Lord said to me, He had sent, because He said, you know, the Lord of feast, the bridegroom sent out His servants to bring in people from the highways. Said that in each version. He's talking about the kingdom. This is under the heading of the kingdom in the New Testament. And the heart of it was, He said to me in a dream the other night, and I actually got up and did a picture and a diagram and wrote down words because... No, it's not on... It's not on plastic.
It's so cold.
It's cool as plastic.
It's in my diary.
You didn't freeze.
But he said to me, He sent them out to the byways to be dealt with, to get them in the right frame.
Oh, to get rid of all the other stuff.
He sent them out there.
Yeah.
And what they came back with, the attitude that they met when the servants went to get those people in the byways and the highways, be it unto me, Lord, whatever you say, same as Mary, be it unto me, I'll come, you know. And he said what he was looking for were the sons of meekness, and he'd sent them out there, and the sons were coming back from the byways, people not up on stage somewhere, big names, big acts. They're not being lauded. They haven't even been noticed. Some you wouldn't know their names ever. Buried away somewhere in a village, whatever, byways and highways. And he said, I sent them there, and I'll send for them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Bit like the cave. Sent into the cave, then the prophet came and said, okay, time to come out.
Time to come out.
Yeah.
And come out meek, and be it unto me. Anything you want, Lord.
Because there's all these other voices demanding people's attention and love affair.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
It's awesome. That was awesome. I think it's about the new creation, man. I know this is able to be done, to get rid of the household gods, to get rid of the giants. It's all able because it's the new creation, man, it's for. It's all for his sons. It's not to be put on the Adamic nature. It's not about laws like Hannah's saying. It's not about any of that stuff. It's well able to be done. It's well able to be walked out. He's not asking you to walk out something that isn't possible, that is too difficult for you. It's quite possible. You've seen some amazing things if you watch YouTube videos that people have managed to do that should have been impossible. And if they can do it, somebody from the byways and highways that he sent there, that good and perfect gift that was hidden away, is quite possible of doing this. His purpose. Because it's his purpose. It's him.
Yeah. All these giants, whatever their name is, they all want to dominate. They all want position. They all want to be in the high place. They all want to have authority and control. Because the enemy's plan is to keep the church. This is the classic. The enemy's supposed to be under our feet. So what these giants do is put us under their feet. It's a role reversal. So we've got to tip of this completely upside down. So we can't afford to be dominated by any of them. They're not allowed to rule.
Who's the only one that doesn't want to see the suns arise on the earth?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The enemy knows as soon as the church starts to do that, it's then the clock is ticking. Yeah.
So even the rocks cry out.
It's good, Bob. Nothing else?
No.
Separation? Nothing more about separation? Way you view yourself, that's growing, isn't it? Larger. We started talking about that.
That is the separating from all that. It's all part of all of this.
Yeah.
Don't see that as you, because that isn't actually accurate.
No.
It's not who you are.
So
it's not who he says you are, and he created you.
So the clearer and clearer that we see ourselves, the easier these things are to do.
And we've lived with such a marred image. Complete, like we saw that with Man in the Mirror. We have lived with such a marred image of what we were supposed to look like and be like. And this is all the deep rising, calling to the deep in you. You need to come out of that. It's time. It's just time.
It's just time.
It's because what we were talking about today, Dad, it's the language has been mixed.
Yeah.
And that's why it hasn't been creating the right image, the right mentalities, because we've been mixing the Adamic nature, or like Old Testament like principles and stuff, and we're mixing it with the Christ ones, and then the religion with the actual truth of Christ and what he's done.
Which gets back to, hello, we've fallen into a pit.
Yes.
And trapped and overwhelmed by it. We were talking about some stuff today. To tell Christians that they can beat all these giants, they can overcome, they can walk in the fullness, they can have 100% fulfillment of all the prophetic purpose. I mean, like, that's fairy tales for most people, because they're overwhelmed by their own state. Like, to beat food,
but
when that overwhelms you, how can you reach out for the rest of the story if you can't do that, So, like, the victories that I want to win, they're mainly internal in here and over stuff. If I can sort that stuff out with the Lord, then I think you can sort anything out. With our classic, so Maloney's saying, if it doesn't work at home, don't export it.
It's all about giving him room. Total room.
So, those shows where they catch people in adultery, they, cheating husband, cheating wife, camera. We can put camera on the fridge. Camera in your drawer.
That's not going to do, because it's got to come from the will.
It's a bit legalistic, I feel.
Yeah.
Cameras. The other day I got up
from
in the middle of the night and I was supposed to finish eating in the evening and not eat the next day, and I was, yum, yum, yum.
Oh dear.
And I was looking around.
I don't know why you guys do that.
Why would you?
Are you a sort of
In
god?
case someone saw me.
Sort of god does that.
Well, it was a momentary lapse.
Transparency.
Really terrible because I wake up in the morning and there's like footprints in the butter. You know, like, that kind of, there'll be butter out and a dirty knife of marmite.
Ah, yeah, well, we know who that is. It's not me.
Oh, that's Sam.
We're not me.
hide that.
Still,
Yeah.
there's like signs that someone's been snacking during
Yeah,
the
well-
night. You don't clean up your evidence.
No,
doesn't
no, it's not
Paula
me.
lives next to the kitchen. She says she hears kitchen sounds constantly.
All
Yeah.
night.
I don't. You know me.
All there is some of those.
I don't make things at that hour. I do man food.
Right.
And good.
I never kind of got it. I don't understand. I just noticed people get up and they can't sleep. They eat.
No.
Because I don't get that. Because it doesn't make me go back. It wouldn't make me go back to sleep.
Wake me up.
Yeah, I always find that weird.
Yeah. Girls find that weird.
But they don't even like. It's not even like I've been out for a while. Maybe I'll eat something. They go straight to the kitchen if they can't sleep to get up. They straight to the kitchen. I don't get. Still trying to figure out that mentality though in there.
I wish I hadn't have brought this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was good. I had to talk to Pat in the cafe while we had a salt water and vinegar drink with a wilted lettuce leaf.
So on.
And
Nobody believes you.
and we all different, but you said reward. It's part of our reward system, isn't it? So hallelujah, I've been good. I need to have something to eat. So I'm going to kill Yum Yum.
Going to kill Yum Yum.
Going to kill Yum Yum.
Nice.
Little yum.
Oh, so sad. Oh, I feel so bad for Yum Yum.
Back to the
Feel bad about it.
back to the zoo.
That's what he wants you to think.
Glob of Yum Yum's head.
So how do you think this video is going to go? Super popular?
Really popular, Mike.
Like the self-discipline one.
Extremely.
Oh
The
yeah.
one,
Like
God
the
disciplines his
self-harming.
sons.
Oh yeah, no views.
Or just
Oh one here. God's plan for the end times and your rapid success. Oh, multiple views. God disciplines his sons. Ooh, no. Isn't that funny?
Here we go along happily. Word of the week. Glorious. Peculiar people. Purge. Can't even say it nicely.
I got down here on the back of my notes. So there was something. Airtime. Those household gods, they have airtime, like radio
They
waves.
should not have place.
So they have airtime. And then the Lord said to me, cut them off because glorious is on the table.
Just tell them the
This is on-
truth. They hate the truth. They'll just like, I'm melting. Like, they just,
I just say, I don't agree. I don't agree with you. I don't see it that way at all.
All right, thank you, Deborah.
Thank you,
Thank
Michael.
you. Thank you, Hannah.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Hannah.
No, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for the audience.
Awesome.
Probably never see you again, but
Lovely way.
appreciated your faithfulness over the years.
Awesome.
Are we going to do a blue steel?
Hey.
You can do one, Deb?
I have one.
Are you ready? On the count of three. You ready? 1, 2, 3.